And so it was that I joined the great fair at Nizhny Novgorod on the Volga River in Russia. What a place it was! It was a mixture of people from all colors and creeds. I had never seen the like in my life, even with the gypsies. I made something of a name for myself as a magician. The mask I wore merely added to the mystery. The mysterious masked magician. My fame spread. While I was there, I became friendly with a group of acrobats from India, from the Punjab. They taught me some very interesting methods to kill. It was whilst with them that I became expert with the Punjab lasso. The simple enough weapon, but highly effective. Simply made from a piece of catgut. When thrown by an expert user, it will entangle the neck of the victim and bite into the flesh of the throat. I became quite an expert with it. The Punjab lasso. A silent and deadly method of killing, far cleaner than the knife that I had used on Javert all those years before. It transpired that during my time here, a fur trader from Samarkand had seen one of my shows and took word back to the Shah of Persia. Apparently the Shah thought that my brand of magic was far too good to be wasted on peasants at the show in Russia, and he instructed one of his servants to travel up the Volga River and locate me. He was instructed to bring me back to Persia, and once there I would entertain the Khanum, the mother of the Shah. That was when I met a man whose friendship, yes, I will say friendship, lasted my entire lifetime. I remember the first time I saw Nadir Khan. He entered my tent after one of the shows. I told him that if I wished to buy a Persian carpet, I would know where to come, and I sent him away. I had no interest in the whim of royalty. Who were they to make Eriks bow at their feet? However, it transpired that Nadir was quite a persistent individual, and the very next day he returned and made his offer yet again. I told him that I had no interest whatsoever in wealth or anything that the Shah or the Khanum could possibly offer me that I did not have already. And that was when he told me that if I served the Shah of Persia, I would get power. Power is one of the few things that I have ever had in my life. I have always been a victim, a piece of driftwood floating on the sea of life, being washed up on any shore. But the thought of power excited me, and I agreed to travel to Persia, to Ashraf, and stand before the peacock throne of the Shah. And so we left Nizhny Novgorod. Nadir wanted to travel down the river by boat, but I am quite contrary, and I refused, saying that I would not travel upon a floating tea chest. We travelled over land, considerably dangerous in those parts, as they were riddled with bandits. However, I had my trusty Punjab lasso, and I was prepared for any eventualities. I learned later that Nadir's urgency to return to Persia was more to do with the strange wasting illness that his young son Reza had begun to exhibit. But, of course, I did not know this at the time. I quite regret that now. But, as I say, I was in ignorance of Nadir's plight. After several weeks, we arrived in Ashraf, and I was led before the Shah. Suffice to say, he was suitably impressed with my abilities, and called upon me to remove my mask. I refused. I think he was quite put out. I do not bow to the will of kings or emperors. And yet I found that, whilst in the court, I was granted a certain amount of free rein. Whether that was out of respect or whether because they feared me, I do not know even to this day. Yes, the court of Persia, what a curious place that was. I have never been in such a den of vice and iniquity. People grovelling on the floor like dogs to gain favor with the Shah or the Khanum or one of the wives of the Shah. I have never known such things in my life, and I count myself quite fortunate to have lived amongst gypsies, if this is how people lived amongst the ruling classes. It was not long after my arrival that I was introduced to the Khanum. Yes, the mother of the Shah.